Welcome to the Yoke Podcast, where we talk about all things entrepreneurship, real estate, and partnerships. I'm your host, Travis Hall, alongside my co-host and wife, Ingrid. Together, we've been in real estate for nearly 2 decades, always as an equally yoked husband and wife team.
Join us each week as we bring you a new episode. And as always, be sure to like, subscribe, follow along, and welcome to this week's episode of
The Yoked Podcast. What's up, and welcome to the Yoked Podcast. I'm Travis Hall, your host, alongside my good friend and buddy this week on today's episode, Joshua San. Josh, how you doing?
I'm doing great, brother. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm so glad to have you on. Today is a special repeat re-recording because our first one, it failed miserably, that we had a couple weeks back, actually. So I'm excited to do this again. We had a trial run, and we get to start over. So I'm gonna introduce you because you are an amazing human being. You're a stud, and let's talk about all the things that you do. First of all, I've known you for coming up on 1 year. 1 year, you and I are in the same community owners club with Pace Morby. And first of all, that in and of itself has been amazing. It's been a gift to me. Just meeting you was an absolute gift. So you and I met a year ago, and it's been fun to have a seat on your journey in the last year, because watching what you have done has just been absolutely amazing. You were a formal, but technically you were a mortgage lender. You still are, but you had a whole mortgage lending business. And with the economy and all the real estate shenanigans going on, you made kind of the leap of faith to step out of that, and you kind of partnered. You handed off your business. You still have it, but you started doing a little bit more, kind of technical capital raising for unique real estate endeavors and real estate adjacent endeavors. And that's where you and I met. We just connected. We're both believers in Christ, and we kind of bonded over that. You're a dad, you're a husband. We just really gelled well. And so I've invested in multiple of your deals. When we recorded last time, it was different, but I think you have raised over 10 million bucks in the last 11 months, right?
Yeah.
So needless to say, you are very good at what you do. And yes, by God's grace, he has blessed you with this ability. And you are a connector. You're attractable. Like, people just want to be around you, kind of magnetic personality, just being in and amongst your circles when I came out and visited you in California. So all to say, I love you, dude. I really appreciate you. It's been fun investing alongside you. And I'm excited to let these people that are listening hear about your journey and kind of just all things Josh.
Yeah.
Sound good?
Thank you, Travis. Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Thank you, first of all, for having me on your podcast, because I have so much respect for you. Not only since the first day I sat down at the Owners Club lunch, I'm like, who is this super good looking guy? Who then I found that is also a pastor and believes in God and loves Jesus. But just your success,
Absolutely.
Travis, I think I look up to, and I hope to be like you one day. I don't know if your viewers know that you have 28 doors, millions flipping and investing in real estate. But I think the thing that impresses me the most, I think you borrowed like 1.5 million or some large amount, but you paid back your investors 100%. Even when a deal goes bad, you still pay them out of your pocket, which I've never heard of. And plus, you and Ingrid have just the most amazing marriage that I aspire to, and I praise God for.
I
Just how
appreciate that.
supportive she is, and you guys work together, and also just both of you guys have such a servant heart. How you guys pour into other people, whether it's the realtors on your team or people looking to get into investing, you really just pour your heart out to them. So I just really want to appreciate you for that.
Thank you. That's very, very kind. I appreciate that. And yeah, I mean, everybody that listens that knows Ingrid and I, they all know that Ingrid is my rock and my foundation. So it's everything you said is absolutely correct. I appreciate you. Well, let's talk about you. I want to talk about just kind of, because what you do in my world is unique. I don't know a lot of Josh's as far as what you've kind of created in this connector capital raiser world. And so just real quick, I just want to hear about your story, kind of however much you want to tell us, but kind of your journey into getting to, Josh of 2025.
Yeah, happy to share my story, and I think hopefully it'll be relevant. I know you guys are going through an Airbnb series, so I love that
Uh-huh.
you're teaching that because you guys are really good at that. So maybe somebody who's learning how to do that is already doing that at a high level and they want to scale, then naturally they're going to need capital to do that. So hopefully this will be a value from that perspective. My background is I was in the mortgage business for 20 years, graduated from a good school with a good GPA, but like thought I was smart, but then I just didn't know a lot of the stuff that I've been learning the last year or so with investing, creative finance, tax strategies, all of that. So I ended up just working in a job that was okay, but wasn't really my dream job. I didn't feel like I was making a super big impact. And then I met Pace in March last year. Jumped into Step 2, Gator, joined Owners Club with you in April at Squad Up. And then I thought my goal is still to buy and hold properties, but I thought I would door knock foreclosures. But I ended up, none of that worked out. But then I ended up, by God's grace, raising capital with our first deal together. So that was a deal where somebody needed private money lending for a deal within the Gator community. I sat next to you, I shared the deal with you, and we both kind of underwrote it and looked at it, and we're like, hey, let's do it together. So I invested myself 200K. You brought in some capital, another person, Paul, or who's now become a really good friend. And
Yeah,
then
he was a
the
good
next
guy.
week, yeah, next week, that person needed to raise capital, and I was, by God's grace, able to bring in 300K from social media, 100K from my mortgage client. And it was just kind of like on accident almost, like, hey, this is working. The other thing wasn't. And there's actually something, a role, an avatar, like Pace would say, of a capital raiser, where if you're good at connecting with people, you can bring people with money to deals and then make income off of that. And then, yeah, that's kind of been a whole full-time thing for me now.
Which is so cool. And I mean, we're going to fast forward a little bit, but you mentioned Squad Up. I think it's super cool that you were at Squad Up last year. You joined Owners Club. Fast forward to this year's Squad Up, you were on stage getting interviewed and by Pace for your success that you've had in this kind of realm, which is just so cool.
Yeah,
And I mean,
all glory to God, and I think that was just the inspiration panel because the thought behind that was, they hear Pace or Jamil or these people doing it, but then the person sitting in the seats may think like, oh, that's them, and can I do it? So they have people like us who are newer, who've had a tiny bit of success. I don't think I had a lot of success compared to people like you or other people on the stage, but if I was able to inspire somebody, by God's grace, that was a blessing.
I loved it. It was inspiring to me. I think it's just cool that and Pace specifically wants to elevate others that are, just because that's what he's all about. He's like, this is his community. Let's elevate us, the whole group. It's not just about him, which is really cool. But
Yeah.
shout out to you. It was cool that you got to go up there, and I was proud to be your friend, seeing you
No,
up there.
no, it was, yeah. You were up there. You were part of my story, right? You did my first deal, and now we've done many deals, like you said. But just to piggyback on that point, Pace is, the Squad Up Summit. That was probably the best real estate conference that I've ever been a part of, and I feel like is out there.
Hands
And I
down.
love, to your point, that they're having like Owners Club members share, like Doran crushed it, and Nita Patel and Justin Tumanowski. But I think like, for people who aren't familiar with Sub 2 or Gator, I highly recommend that if you're looking to get into real estate investing because of the community and the teaching, but also like Pace, just how he sets that whole culture of everyone's a go-giver and willing to help each other. And the craziest thing I think is it's a one-time fee for life. Whereas all the other programs I'm in, it's an annual thing. So anyways, I just wanted to share that and I want to get your thoughts too on Sub 2 and Gator.
I totally agree. I mean, I joined Sub 2 initially as like Ingrid and I talked, and we're like, we need to level up. Like we're kind of in this world, it's easy to be isolated, even though we have this big team of realtors. Realtoring and investing are not the same. And it's a very different lens. I wish every realtor would invest because you have, pick of the litter when it comes to access to some deals first. But it is a very different mindset. And so Ingrid and I kind of made that decision in 2023 that we needed to level up. And I was really intrigued about creative finance. I'd always heard about it. I never really explored it. It felt like it was going to be a good solution for us on acquiring deals. And so we committed. I'm super skeptical. I'm like listening to like the pitch and I'm like, just like a lot of people say, like they're like, it just doesn't seem, it sounds too good to be true. It probably is. And this one wasn't. It was absolutely worth it. We committed, we joined, just rubbing shoulders and being amongst people that are seeking the same thing or similar things. And not just seeking, but pushing, like you, like pushing. And then you and I joined Owners Club, which is way higher level and a way higher commitment. And in that, the people there are even more intentional. And so, yeah, I totally agree with everything you said. And the community is amazing. It's just all about helping others achieve that higher goal. And so it's been
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah, and I think like two things. I mean, one is I appreciate how you and Ingrid continue to invest in yourselves because Sub 2 is like 10K, Gator is like 3K, and then Owners Club is like 35K. or 40K now. They raised it this year. So, and I know you also read a lot of books. Like you recommended a really awesome book, like Strong Fathers, Strong Daughters, which I thank you
Such a
for.
good book.
And the other thing I would say too is Sub 2, I think, is the only program in real estate investing that covers all different asset classes. Because there's people in there
Right.
doing RV parks, business acquisitions, co-living, whereas I feel like most other real estate investing programs is like one niche, which is okay. But I feel like, I had no idea when I got into it that there's so much you can do within real estate investing.
I know it covers the full spectrum, and you're right. I mean that is where Ingrid and I are going with our business is the business acquisition and RV park. This year, making it happen this year. I've got a line on 2 RV parks that in Texas that I might be buying
Dude,
or
that'd be awesome.
partnering with a good buddy on. So that's a different podcast. We can talk about that another time. Let's continue like talking about entrepreneurship because I'm curious with your story. Obviously, I know because we did this once. But your story with entrepreneurship, like setting out to be a mortgage broker, that is, I mean, you don't get paid unless you're closing deals, and so it is absolutely being entrepreneuring, right? It's you got to be an entrepreneur to do that, just like being a realtor. It's very similar, but then you took the leap of faith and left that into full time this. And so I'm just kind of curious. Your story with entrepreneurship, was your family entrepreneurs? Was it always inside of you, or when did you know, like, hey, this I'm meant to do this?
Yeah, great question. I feel like I tried the 9 to 5 thing. I just really didn't like being, uh, having to check in and check out, set hours. Like I would used to sit at a call center on like Black Friday. I would hate having to go to work there and making calls. Nobody answered the phone, but we still had to make calls like the day, Christmas Eve, things like that. And I was just thinking, looking out the window, literally just saying, I'm wasting my life, right? And again, the W2 thing is cool for some people who are maybe like the structure and nothing wrong with that. But I think there's probably 20% of us who just like being an entrepreneur where we have our freedoms and then our income is not capped. Because in most companies, even if you get up to like a CEO level or a really high level, you're making maybe 250, 300,000. But in I live in LA, that's not going to do very much for you, unfortunately. But then, how many of us are actually going to, or how long is it going to take if even we get there to become the CEO or whatever. So I think being that's why I was in the mortgage business because the income is there's no cap on your income and you get to work as hard as you want. And then when I found a pace and got into real estate investing, once ChatGPT came out, I felt like the writing was on the wall for the mortgage business. It was already declining, and I didn't really like how it is subject to interest rates and the economy and stuff like that. But I really just felt like this is way better because as a capital raiser, it's a win-win-win all around. Meaning I make money, so it's a win for me, but then I help the operator, whoever's doing the deals, get more capital to scale, so they win. And the investor wins because they're making good returns, minimal risk. And then usually what we do is we do impact investing, so things with a good purpose behind it. So it's also helping a family out. So I just love that, and yeah, so that's why I just decided to take a leap of faith actually in July when that was actually a really hard time for me because my mortgage business had been declining and we depleted all our savings, tapped into our HELOC. But I just felt in my heart like I just need to go full time without having any source of like active income.
It's
I even talked
impressive.
to my wife like, hey, if this doesn't turn around, we may have to sell the house. But my heart was so over the mortgage that I just couldn't go back to it because I felt like my realtor partners and clients felt my heart wasn't in it, so they would send us less leads and stuff like that. But I felt that my best way to redeem it was, hey, here's my friend who's really good. Partner with him, he'll do a better job, and we have a great partnership. I still get a split, and then so I could focus on full time. And then that's when God connected me with a real estate developer and who I raised capital for from July until January, which got me to now where I am doing the foreclosure deals.
Love that. Yeah, I do. I want to talk about that specifically, the foreclosure deals, just because it is. I mean, I love it. I think it's super cool what you're doing. But I do want to highlight what you just said because what you just said is a perfect. You teased our next series perfectly by talking about taking a leap of faith and whatnot, because that is our next series. We're talking about a 3-part series where we go through all kinds of things when it comes to taking that leap of faith, that bold move. So that's kind of a little teaser. So well done. Uh, Let's talk about this foreclosure thing because I'm in multiple of these deals as well with you. And At first, it is difficult to wrap your head around what it is, but man, like seeing like the testimony stories that you share, and it's just the impact is so incredible and it's so real, and it's this unique way of making money, making profit, investing in real estate while also doing the greater good and helping these homeowners, not just by buying it, by helping them out of foreclosure. And so yeah, let's talk about the Freedom Fund a little bit, and then I'd love to hear a success story from that specifically because it's just so cool, and I'm one of your biggest champions and cheerleaders in that space, and I want it to succeed. Obviously, I'm invested, but I do want it to succeed because what you, Josh, and Ty are doing is just incredible. Whatever you want to tell us would be awesome about Freedom Fund.
No, I mean, thank you for your partnership. And as Ty always says, this is God's work, and we all have equal
Totally is.
parts in it. Whether somebody's praying or investing or doing whatever part, like my team, I feel like they have the same role in it and same part, and even our wives who support what we do so that we can invest or be a part of this. So I want to give just everyone their credit. But one story is Stephanie, which was the deal that you are part of. I mean, she was a single mom of five. Her husband was murdered. Um, and
I
then
didn't realize that. I didn't know
yeah,
that part of the
later
story.
in the interview, like she was like, my man, they lost their dad, and I was like, oh, like how did they lose their dad? And she didn't really say much. She just said he went back to his country he was from, and he was murdered. And that was like on top of she has five kids, single mom. Her 13-year-old daughter got ovarian cancer and had to remove half of her female parts, and they were just worried she couldn't have children, or they're still worried about that. But thank God she's in remission. But then because of the medical bills, she took out a loan. But I think the part like her daughter's strength, it really moved me because I don't know if you remember that part. She said that her daughter only cried once when they told her. And then she said that, God gave me this because he knew that out of our siblings, I would be the one who can handle this. And I was like, that is
It's
such
powerful.
maturity. And I still have goosebumps now saying that.
As a 13-year-old.
Yeah, as a 13-year-old. And so because of that, she racked up like 320,000 in bills. She took out a loan and this predatory lender took over the loan. And when she was 2.5 weeks late, he foreclosed on her. Can you believe that? Like how unconscionable is that? And her home was the last place that, like their last sanctuary that they can hang out with as a family because her daughter had immune issues, so she couldn't go to the beach and do normal stuff. So it's all about, she said I was trying to make them parties and stuff or movie things inside the house. And then her mom was actually her support system to help with the kids. But then her mom had issues and then they lost her mom. So this lady, she's probably one of the strongest women I've ever met, went through all of that. And then this predatory lender was going about to take her house. And by the grace
Right.
of God and thanks to you and our other investors, there's a whole story we can share more, but the funds got sent in to stop the sale 34 minutes, I think, before the deadline. So, man, it was just amazing and just getting to hear her story really has actually even changed the direction of my business because before I was to do other things like raise money for multifamilies and stuff like that, which I may still do, but I really felt like God showed me. And when I heard the story myself firsthand, it helped me understand even more deeply the impact that what God is doing through the foreclosure deals and just made me like I felt like God just say like, hey, just focus on these, help more people like her because there's a lot of people out there. And there's other stories like Chantel's story, the lady I just interviewed last week. I mean, her story was amazing, just very sad too. So yeah.
It is a crazy story, and I know Ingrid and I talked about it after the first Zoom that we had with Ty on there answering all the questions. We both knew we're like, yes, we are in. I mean, and I will say like we have been known, Ingrid and I, and right or wrong, we aren't that risk averse. We are with some things, but like if it feels good, if our gut says yes, let's do it. And so we're kind of a ready, fire, aim type of people, especially me.
Me too.
I'm trying to get better at like, okay, I'm gonna do my due diligence, and I do, but like the Zoom was my due diligence, but my gut was like, absolutely, let's help, let's do this, and it was just so powerful. And then it felt like a stick it to the man, like this predatory lender. It was obnoxious. I mean, obviously, we're not going to go into all the details, but the amount of interest this guy or person was charging was just insane. And I mean, the amount, like the principal, I mean, it just ballooned
Well,
crazy.
320,000 to 500,000 in 2 months or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, and granted, She signed the loan, sure. She's maybe under a little bit of duress and it's a stressful situation, and you just do what you got to do to take care of your family. But oh my gosh, whenever Ty sent out that text or like the email of like, "Hey, we did it," it just felt like you won the Super Bowl. Like, I mean, he still got paid, he still got all of his interest, but I mean, we collectively with you and Ty saved. I mean, she had like, I mean, it was yeah, I mean, it's so much that she was about to lose, and this guy was going to take. So, anyway, I love it, and I get passionate. Obviously, just talking about it because it's just so much. That's what's so cool. I think is that what you didn't create, you discovered it, meeting Ty and the relationships. He's been doing it for a long time, but it's just a cool way of making a huge difference while still being profitable in real estate. And so, like, even the other stuff that are doing through the ticks, it's just a cool way of, for Ingrid Knives, is eye-opening door of like, holy cow, we can invest in affordable housing programs and properties and still make money. I mean, I know there is ways, but it just it was really, my mind was pretty narrow on that. And so just my relationship with you, it's opened my mind to a lot of different things. And so I give
Yeah.
you credit for that.
No, I mean, glory to God. And I think, that's kind of the cool thing about Owners Club. Everybody's Mount Everest or the 5-year goal is to make money by helping people in some way. And I think, like, with what we do here, and then also like, and I know you and Ingrid are all about helping people too. So we're on the totally same page, but it's just really cool to your point. I think what you're saying is to find ways to make money while helping people. And there's just a special kind of fulfillment there. And I even love
It
just,
feels different.
yeah, sharing like these things I shared with my family, my daughter, and like by God's grace, even took her to like an orphanage in Sonata recently. And things like that just really changes our perspective or gives us perspective, I think. Where like if I'm just grumbling because I'm, tired or whatever, it really just reminds me and checks me. Okay, like or if my daughter like complains about something, now I tell like, you remember the orphans? But yes, I mean, there's so many good causes out there, so whatever people resonate with, but I think the point is make your purpose about helping somebody and make money through that. And I think that's what's going to get you far.
Absolutely. Well, and you're proof that you can make money doing it. Like, even just connecting and capital raising, like, it's a lot of work and you're good at it, and you should get paid. But that's what I love about what you're doing and what Pace talks about, is how like you can make money in so many different ways in this business or real estate adjacent. It doesn't have to be real estate. You don't have to go buy houses in real estate to make money, to what you're doing right now, which is super cool.
Yeah, and because I want to share basically what God's done through me, and again, not like I'm a great capital raiser or anything, but just sharing what I've done that's worked and hopefully can help other people, or people who are maybe want to leave their W-2 or want some extra income or learn. I'm doing a course that I'm building a website and doing a course that I should release hopefully within a couple weeks. And I'm just simplifying it where I'm just going to record 3 videos a week and then just put up there so people can watch it, come back the next week and just build it brick by brick as we go. So, if anybody's interested, you can check that out.
I love that. Well, whenever it's ready, send me the link and I'll add it to the description on the show notes for both the podcast and on YouTube.
Okay. I
Because
mean, my
yeah, that would
website's
be
going to be joshuasoncapital.com. So you can
okay.
get that there. And then, yeah, it's not built yet, but it'll be there. And I mean, on that note of capital raising, I think I just want to share what pace that. Because if you are somebody like me who can't fix and flip, I can't fix anything around the house. My wife always gives me a hard time. And I'm not good at door knocking or getting, closing a deal. By raising capital, you can participate, like you're saying, and make money by just bringing capital. So if you're somebody who likes to build relationships, likes to connect with people, can explain things and kind of gain people's trust. And then social media has been such a big part of it. That's why a lot of what I do has been through social media. That's definitely, a lane that might be right for you, that you can make money and benefit people in those different ways without having to negotiate the deal or find the deal. And that might be a cool thing for some of the people out there.
Absolutely. No, thank you for saying that. And let's talk about social media, because just for the audience, can we get any, like, a quick nugget from you? Because you are good at social media, in my opinion. You're good at intentionally trying to grow it as an audience that's a marketing endeavor, right? You use it as a platform. And I mean, if somebody is trying to do that, just give us a quick nugget, because you've given me several tips before. And I'm like, okay, this is This is good. This is gold. And I mean, I know that you are in a lot of different masterminds or mentorships around this. And so we don't need everything, but give us something.
Yeah, I think the couple quick things, which, part of my course, one third of it is going to be on social media. And I have a bunch of sources. You can reach out to me on my Instagram. I think is the best way. It's at Joshua Sun 26. DM me, and then I can, for the social media resource, can send you all the stuff I have. But I think just understanding the difference between marketing and sales. Marketing is an attraction mechanism, whereas sales is an outreach mechanism. Meaning, let's say you're in the context of what we're doing, real estate investing. Let's say whether you're trying to raise capital or you're trying to raise capital for another deal or raise capital for your own deal, right? You're trying to get people to invest with you. If you're doing sales, which means it's outreach, like you have to ask somebody, hey, do you want to invest? Do you want to invest? You have to go through a lot more people to get an investor because there's not trust. Whereas marketing is an attraction mechanism, meaning you just have to document everything you're doing. And through people seeing it, through you adding value to them by showing them what it's like to do an Airbnb, then the trust is built. So when people are ready, they're just going to raise their hand. And I've had so many people from my old church, old community, my current church just reach out to me and say, hey, I've seen your stuff on social media. I want to invest.
So good. And it's so true. Like, I mean, you are way better at giving content and actually providing value than me. I do it. I kind of reluctantly do it. I know I should do it, but I've seen results from like I've gotten deals and like clients and from doing it. And so it is amazing. And you're totally right. So yeah, thanks for that. Keep doing what you're doing. And I mean, I think that to your point of marketing and sales, they are different. I mean, I love that idea. Marketing is attracting and sales is pitching.
Yeah, I mean, the last thing I'll share on that is real quick is if you don't do social media, which some people are like, I don't have time to, I don't know how to, but you're going to be stuck and limited because you can only do so many meetings in a day and you can do so many calls and prospecting. Whereas when you do marketing and you just put out content, that scales infinitely. And that's going to save you some time because by the time they raise their hand, they're already pretty much pre-sold or pre-interested. So you can convert at a much higher. So it really just, I would say in today's day and age, really even necessary to scale your business to a high level so you can help more people and you can make the money that you want for you and your family.
I love that. I mean, that's why Ingrid and I are doing this podcast. What's what not only, but that's one of the reasons is that we have these a lot of coffee meetings of people asking questions. And so that was one of the things we're like, well, let's just record our conversations about it in the form of a podcast. And then it is on the World Wide Web and it's out there forever to help more people.
Yeah, and then one more thing I want to add too is God recently connected me social media and impact because when I went to the orphanage, I saw there were 24 kids and their rooms reeked of urine. Like it was just like overpowering stench. And we found out that it's because the mattresses are 10 years old and kids who go through trauma, which a lot have been abused or drugged or trafficked, they tend to pee their bed. And it's just that smell is just all the ammonia in the air, which has really bad health effects. So on the way back, I just felt led to make a reel and posted it. And within 24 hours, people donated or said they would donate. And we just ordered 24 new mattresses, plastic covers, sheets, and pillows. And we're going back next week to unpack it and document it and show people. So I feel like, God, it
So
makes sense
cool.
now because I've always been burdened, like I'm not doing enough to help the needy because I'm working, I have family, not that that's an excuse. But I feel like now God is like showing me that, hey, the social media is a powerful tool where you can raise awareness, raise funds for orphanages or any cause.
That's so cool. I did see that reel. It's so powerful and that's super cool. 24. You raised enough for 24 all new mattresses.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, it's
That's
awesome.
amazing. God is good, man.
Yeah, definitely. So if you don't want to do social media for yourself, use that as a motivation. You can really use it as a tool to help others.
I love that. It's motivating me just hearing that. All right. Well, let's talk about motivation real quick. What motivates you to keep pushing and driving and posting on social and raising more capital for this? Like, what is that internal motivation for you?
I mean, to be honest, it's the bills, right? I have two kids and living in LA is not cheap. So that's probably the basic motivation. But I think beyond that, just to glorify God and I think the Great Commission is God's purpose for all believers, which is that his glory be enjoyed and exalted among all the nations. So I feel like that should be our purpose as well, because we have the Spirit of God in us. And that's influenced by David Platt. He's a great sermon on that called Together for the Gospel on YouTube, if you want to check it out. But Yeah, I mean, just because like you were saying earlier, making an extra, once you have enough to live off comfortably, but if you make an extra, whatever, 500,000, $1 million, it's not going to really change your life or your happiness, at least. Hearing these stories like Stephanie with the foreclosure or going to these orphanages and really just, knowing that God, Ephesians 2:10 says, we're God's workmanship created for good works that he prepared beforehand that we should walk in them. I think really is what keeps us going through the ups and the downs, right? There's always ups and downs. There's always spiritual attack, especially when you're doing things for God. But yeah, I think that's my motivation.
I love that. It's so cool. Thanks for sharing that. I appreciate it. So you already answered this. You already answered, how people find you. Cause I think everybody should connect with you. And some of my buddies here, they've started following you. So that when I talk about Josh, they know who I'm talking about. But so I'll put your Instagram and your website in the show notes. But the question that I always like to end with this episode with this Yoked podcast is, obviously it's the podcast is called Yoked. It's all about real estate, partnerships, entrepreneurship, and more importantly, being yoked to something greater than you. Where if you don't have it or you're not yoked to it, you won't go as far or as fast. And so right now, I mean, you're doing a lot of things. You're married and you have different partners. What would you say in this context or this conversation? What would you say that you are currently yoked to?
Really good question. I think I'm yoked to my team because I think part of scaling and being able to do more is that you have to build a team. And because by yourself, you only have so much time in the day, and you work up to a certain level, but then you start to have burnout because now you're sacrificing other areas of your life. By God's
Mhm.
grace, he provided a social media director and Ray and Kim, the my executive assistant couple, and they've really just taken so much of the stuff off of me where I can do focus on the 3 to 5 things that really I enjoy and makes me the most money. And kind of what Dan Sullivan teaches in 10x is easier than 2x, who not how,
Great
capital
book.
buy back your time. And I'm in those programs too. So I think those are also critical things that I'll be sharing as part of my capital raising class, like how to scale. I mean, that applies to any business, any entrepreneur, but I think that's kind of the next level, just building a team so you can increase your income, but also increase your joy and your time so that you're not burning out and, having just hurting your family or your health.
I love that. And your team is awesome. I mean, I've noticed just from my end, not as a friend, but as an associate and like an investor, I've noticed. And so that's being yoked to your team is great. And I mean, it inspires me. I mean, Ingrid and I've talked about it, and it's like that is the next step. And what's cool is when you have a team like that you are supporting and providing for, it's more purposeful. It actually grows that level as well,
Yeah, and praise
which
God,
is
man. I have to give a huge shout out to my team because God brought me just seriously the most amazing people. And I'm not just saying that, like, they really, really love God. They're huge givers. They're like the most encouraging, gracious people, and they're so aligned with helping people and impact. So when we have our team meetings, it's just awesome. And like, it doesn't even feel like work. And check out the book Superpower too. It's all about like how to take the role of an executive assistant, but to like the nth level. The 3 authors came from the strategic coach program, but they specialize in just helping train and find executive assistants. But just seeing what an executive assistant can do at the super highest level is been a game changer. So yeah, check that out on Audible or get the
and it's called Superpower 2.
super powered with
Super
the
powered. Got
powered.
it.
Yeah, yep. And I got it from my assistant Kim, and then she read it, and then she even got the Audible because she was like, "Hey, I love this so much, and I just want to follow this to the T." And I'm like, "Perfect."
That's awesome. I mean, it seems like you are like living the blueprint of Dan Martell's Buy Back Your Time, which Ingrid and I both read. And it's like, this book is amazing.
Yeah,
And Who
I'm
Not
trying to
How, all those
look
books.
at progress. Yeah.
You're a big time reader, which I love and appreciate. All right, cool. Well, let's wrap this up. I don't want to keep people too long. Do you have any final words that you want to say before we say bye?
Yeah, no, I just appreciate you, Travis. I mean, you and Ingrid continue to just add so much value. You guys are a great example as, in your marriage, in your parenting, in your investing, and just your business practices. I'm really touched by the story that you shared where you had a really bad experience with this one person and things turned around where you could have, reacted in a worldly way, but you actually responded in a gracious way. So, I'm not going to share too much details, but if people want to share, reach out to you. But yeah, just have tremendous respect for you guys and praise God for you guys. And you guys are just great people to follow, to learn from. and to partner with. So yeah, just thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you for saying that. Well, as always, thank you for watching. I hope you learned something from Josh, and for sure, go follow him. Go follow him. Go to his website. He is a wealth of knowledge, and he gives and gives and gives and gives. And so definitely go subscribe to his channels as well. And then, like I said, next week we're going to start a new series on bold decisions and stepping out, like kind of those leap of faith moments. So I hope you follow along for those. And until then, you guys have a great week. Thanks, Josh. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to this week's episode of the Yoke Podcast. We hope you enjoyed it.
And as always, be sure to like, subscribe, and follow along as we drop a new episode each week.